Hey, Bob Carr here with the Bob Carr Show. Joining us today in the studio, hard to get him to come in here, Jim, Comptroller of Crofton. Jim, welcome.
Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I see you got your notes there.
Yep, I've got a lot to talk about today. This year is the 60th anniversary of Crofton, which started in a family farm back in the early 60s, the Duval family farm, and we've grown to a census area of over 29,000 people. Not bad for 60 years.
Wow, it's a lot of people, isn't it?
Yep.
Wasn't that tied to a builder named Crawford out of Louisiana?
Yes. So Crofton, a gentleman named Crawford, bought the family farm from the Duval family and designed Crofton to be modeled after Williamsburg, Virginia, of all things.
Interesting.
And so like the village green and even the steeple at the Baptist church, if you look at it with that in mind, you can kind of see it with the cobblestones and the village green area and so forth.
Interesting, isn't it?
There's a lot of different ways of defining Crofton. Overall, it's I think most people think of it as the same kind of geographic boundary as now the high school that we finally have, which was, by the way, promised to us 50 years ago, but we finally got a couple years ago.
It's a beautiful high school, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous. And unfortunately, already due for expansion.
Really?
Yeah, it's at over 100% capacity already.
Wow, that's crazy good though, right?
Yeah, it is. I've lived here personally since 1993, and when I moved here, I had my son at the time, who's now 35, was 4 years old, and everybody around us was first-time owners. All their kids were gone. I live in the Harcourt, Harwell area. There were only 2 other families with kids, and that's changed dramatically. Kids are back in Crofton. There's a lot of young families that have moved in. And when we have events like the Easter egg hunt, which we had a couple months ago in March around Easter, the week before Easter, we had 10,000 eggs, hundreds of kids. The eggs were gone in 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yep.
So what you got coming up this year? What part of your festival?
This year is the 60th anniversary of Crofton.
Okay.
And we started planning this last March. And we have a committee of over 30 volunteers who have looked at a variety of different ways of celebrating the 60th anniversary. We started the year with a few fundraisers. We have a lot of free events coming up for folks in the community, and we also have a couple of things that might be a surprise to a few folks. But
yeah. You can't divulge that, huh?
Oh no, actually.
Okay.
And with a couple of things that will be interesting that we're going to do. One is at the homecoming event, we're going to be doing the first filming of a documentary filmed about Crofton, about the history of Crofton, by a local producer, Brian Morrison. And so that will be very interesting. And the other thing that we're working on is a history of Crofton book. Now, a lot of people may be familiar with From Sotweed to Suburbia, which covers basically from colonial days up to when Crofton was formed. The idea of this book, led by Marcia Perry, is to collect stories from folks between 64 to today. And we currently have about 120 contributions or articles. And over the next few months, we have to turn those in from basically a smorgasbord of different ideas and voices into a book. And looking forward to diving into these articles and turning them into a book. Now, if anybody is interested, though, we are still looking for additional stories. So if anybody has stories, whether it's about the 60s or 70s or even recently, or their experience with Crofton Athletics, the new high school, some organizations.
A lot of history there, isn't it?
We're getting a good cross-section, and then it's going to be the editor's job to turn it to find the storylines behind all these submissions and into a book. One of the things that I'm most excited for is you'll be seeing along Crofton Parkway 30 banners on light poles below the flags, which TLC puts up, that memorialize veterans and service members from the Crofton area. And that's going to look really great.
It's going to look awesome, isn't
it? And we've got it set up so there's just enough to go from end to end for the parade route for the Armed Forces Day Parade and the Halloween Parade.
You're going to get a lot of compliments about that. I've seen what you've put out so far, the different renderings. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, what we did is perhaps two of the most well-known veterans are John Walker, a World War II veteran who passed away recently, but he lived to be 99. But he was not just a World War II veteran, a Korean veteran, and he spoke at many of school events on Veterans Day. And also James Stoddard, who passed away, unfortunately, during the Afghan conflict a few years ago. So we put those up first to let people know it was coming.
Sure.
And most people know
well-known guys.
Yeah.
That's great.
But among the 30 banners, there's everything, again, from World War II veterans to young people currently serving. It's a really great cross-section of folks from Crofton who are, frankly, local heroes.
That's great. What else you got going on?
So another thing that I'm really excited for is the summer program. So initially some of the programs were fundraisers, but on June 1st we have Summerfest, which is a full-day concert. It goes from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Crofton Country Club, absolutely free. There's 6 bands. And there's going to be food trucks, the country club setting up a bar. We're going to have a kids drink station next to the 60th anniversary booth, and everybody's welcome, absolutely free. July 13th.
I'm sure the booze is not going to be for free.
Well, no, the booze you're going to have to pay for, and the food trucks you're going to have to pay for any food you buy.
Sarcastic.
But the music is free, yes, of course. On July 13th, we have a kids festival, which could be quite interesting, and that is both at the country club and at the Village Green, because we have so much going on. There's going to be a bike rodeo area. There's going to be an area for kids to do sidewalk chalk art, which will be judged, and we'll have prizes for them.
That's going to be interesting, isn't it, right there all together?
Mm-hmm. A touch a truck section. There's going to be something called a cakewalk. I'm not too sure exactly how that works, but it involves 100 cakes. For the kids, because kids need more sugar. But that's very much kid-oriented from 2 to 14. Families are welcome to come out to that.
And this is in June?
That's on July 13th.
July 13th.
The concert's on June 1st.
Okay.
We also have a party at the Bay Sox on August 23rd. There's a teen skate night on September 15th at Skate Zone, which will be free for...
Right here in Crofton?
For teenagers, yep, right here in Crofton. And then the Greater Crofton Chamber of Commerce is bringing back Taste of Crofton to do a 60th anniversary edition.
Wow.
I'm waiting to get the date on that. That's supposed to be in September.
Okay.
And then in October is really kind of the culmination when we have the homecoming weekend and we have an Oktoberfest event, which I've already spoken about. But then we're going to finish the year with putting up a Gold Star Memorial along Route 3 at the main entrance, okay. Crawford Boulevard. That's being organized by the Crofton Village Garden Club. And we're going to be inviting Gold Star families, which are families that have lost somebody in combat, to be honored and to acknowledge their loved ones. And that will be a permanent installation. That's a 7-foot iron sign that will be there forever.
Wow.
And it'll look good, too, with the Flags for Heroes program.
Sure,
that the
all tied together.
Yeah, it's nearby. It's not right at the same spot.
Okay.
And then the final program of the year, of all things, is a 1960s open mic poetry reading at Lithicum Walks, which is on November 16th. And so everybody's encouraged to put on their bell bottoms and their tie-dye shirts and come by and listen.
That's right up by the middle school on 424.
Correct, yeah. So right between the middle school and the high schools. Lithicum Walks can be hidden to find. It's a little off the road.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah,
we all know it, but a lot of new people new to the area might not.
It's kind of hidden, but it's quite a gem in Crofton, because if you go back there, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The grounds are actually on the National Arboretum Registry, and there's a lot of trees that are identified specifically for what they are, and there's an old cemetery back there. Very great. It's a nice property.
Absolutely.
So and then at that point, I'm going to take a long nap and a vacation.
You'd be wore out with all that going on.
Yes.
Keeping all that straight.
Well, on top of that, we have our normal set of programs: the dog show, the chili cook-off, the 8 concerts we do every Sunday during the summer, the ice cream social, etc. So it's a very busy year for Crofton, but it should be a very fun one for residents of Crofton.
Jim, I appreciate you coming in today to the studio and talking with us.
Thank you, Bob. Really appreciate it. It was fun being here.
Thank you. This wraps up another episode of the Bob Carr Show. Stay tuned next week for another episode.